Corey and I, were together for over 7 years, and probably, some of the, my background was in being raised in a very conservative, non-affirming, church, from the time that we were toddlers, and at I lived, my life is, for other people, trying to please family, friends for over 30 years, being, keeping a secret of, being gay. Back then, it was a death sentence, to some, because of the HIV, population, were dying, and I can remember, preachers, saying that HIV was, was God's way of, cleansing, the sin, and we and today there's, people out here listening, I'm sure that have turned their backs, or to God, or not, really, to religion, to the church, because, I can't tell you how many times I heard, the quote, "Love the sinner, hate the sin." Mentally, that isn't love at all. It's isolation. It's rejecting and marginalizing the LGBTQIA community. And Jesus has challenged us with a new commandment to love. That love is bigger and deeper. To love one another as you love yourself. And that's part of the problem, today, is that I'm a strong believer that people do not love themselves. And so they can't love other people. And that's where the struggle, comes in. And Corey and I met, and, from the first time that we met, we knew that we were life partners. We were together for 7 years. We went through the struggles of, the gay marriage, law becoming, into effect, and here, even in our, in our city, it was passed, Multnomah County, and then it was taken back, and then it was, passed again, to say so. We struggled just like everybody else. We ended up in a domestic partnership. We bought a home. When we bought that home, our intent was, it was going to be a place of refuge for our LGBTQIA community. Because Corey, when he was growing up, at the age of 13, he came out, and he was bullied in school. He was, marginalized, and to the point where, he had to, get a get out of the setting, and take another route, for his education. He was very smart, very, um, he could research anything on the internet, at the time. But 6 years ago, on, February 8th, um, I came home from work and found, a lifeless body due to, a tragic accident in the home. February has been, really strong, or been really hard for me the first week or so, in the first 4 years, 5 years. Last year, I decided, instead of moving on, which people were, telling me, "Oh, you gotta let go, you gotta move on," and to me, that was leaving my partner in the graveyard and moving on. And I thought, that's not me. That's not what Corey would want. That's not what I want. So I've chosen to move forward and created my Corey McCadden Day. And what Corey McCadden Day is, we're asking, in Corey's memory, to perform random acts of kindness. Corey and I, did that quite frequently whenever we could afford it. We were at the Rhinelander one time eating, dinner, and we noticed that there was a family there celebrating a anniversary, of 20 years, and we looked at each other and we thought, I wonder what it's going to be like, when we get to celebrate, something like that. And we were able to, pay for the whole family's dinner, and it's not out of recognition, it's out of love, and we just ask, that you play it forward when you can. And the Covenant House, um, if you read any of their literature, any of their information, those our hearts were for the LGBTQ young people that were on the street. They'd been, again, marginalized and mentally abused by the love the sinner, hate the sin, and that's not the new commandment. Jesus said to love one another as you love yourself. And in order to love one another, I challenge you. Corey challenges you in spirit today to learn to love yourself.
Hmm.
And we're not, I'm not looking for recognition. I'm not looking for anything. Just pass the love. Buy a cup of coffee, a warm beverage, a warm meal for that young person or old person, or it doesn't matter if they're gay, straight, bi, whatever. Just give them a phone call, send an email, make somebody know that they're loved. Because when you do it to the least of these, you're doing it to the Lord. And some people, it could be, in the drive-through. I had that happen where I paid for the person in the car behind me. Examples like that, making a phone call, letting somebody know that you hadn't heard from them, you were just checking on them. Don't be afraid to ask in this pandemic time, the mental health uncomfortable questions. It's important. And some people may say, well, I don't, I'm caught at home or whatever. There's organizations, even $1, to the Trevor Project or to the Covenant House. I'm going to put the links, in the chat section here. I just challenge you. And from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you. For Tuesday, remember random acts of kindness in the memory. Because Corey, he had a place in his heart for the LGBTQ community or young people. And I want to keep it going or keep going forward and not move on, but move forward.